Hello guys, I am Karold Llanillo and today I am starting a new series called Python with me. So in this series we are gonna learn and discover Python starting from the basics. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and of course like my Facebook page at facebook.com/coloredproductions. Hello guys, before we start, I would like to congratulate you because you made it to our part 3 of our mini series called Python with me. So today we will be focusing on the variables. So our objectives are to become familiar with the concept of storing and working with different data types in Python, to experiment with the Python code, become familiar with the concept and working with variables, and perform basic computations and conversions. So what are a variable? So a variable is a named location reserved to store values in the memory. A variable is created or initialized automatically when you assign a value to it for the first time. So each variable must have a unique name. So these unique names are called identifier. And when using a variable, we can also use a code like the operators that we discussed in the part 2 of our series Python with me. So let us now start discovering using the variables. So for our first task, here's a short story. So once upon a time in an apple land, John had 3 apples, Mary had 5 apples, and Adam had 6 apples. They were all happy and lived for a long time. End of story. So our task is to create the variables John, Mary, and Adam. So John, Mary, and Adam. And then assign values to the variables. The values must be equal to the numbers of fruit possessed by John, Mary, and Adam respectively. So John had 3 apples, Mary had 5, and Adam had 6. So having stored the numbers in the variables, print the variables on one line and separate each one of them with a comma. So on one line, use the print function. So print John, Mary, I'm gonna use comma here, John, Mary, and Adam, and then I need to separate them with a comma, so I'm gonna use a separator, then comma here. So let's try to run this one. So there it is there. 3, 5, and 6. These are the apples possessed by John, Mary, and Adam, separated by a comma. So the next task is to create a variable named total apples. So total apples, and then it must be equal to the addition of the 3 former variables. So total apples must be John plus Mary plus Adam, and then print the value stored in the total apples. So print total apples. Now let's try this one. So this is the total number of apples. So the next one is the experiment with your code. So try putting the total number of apples. So let's try this one. Print total number of apples, then comma, then total apples. Then let's try running this one. Then total number of apples is 14. So that's it. Now let's try another one. For example, John had, then I'll put John apples, Mary had let's try putting a comma here. Mary, which is the number of her apples, then and Adam had, then let's put the variable Adam, then apples, then I'm gonna put a period at the end. Well, let's try running this one. So John had 3 apples, Mary had 5 apples, Mary had 5, and Adam had 6 apples. So that's it. I just had an. Now for our second example, miles and kilometers are units of length or distance. Bearing in mind that 1 mile is equal to approximately 1.61 kilometers, complete the program in the editor so that it converts miles to kilometers and kilometers to miles. So in this example, there's already a source code that is given to us. So let's just take a look at it. So kilometers, the given kilometers is 12.25, and then the miles is 7.38. So miles to kilometers will be this one. This will be the one that we will edit. So in the example, it is already stated that 1 mile is equal to approximately 1.61 kilometers. So to convert miles to kilometers, we're just gonna put miles and then multiply it by 1.61. So that is the formula to convert it to kilometers. So for the kilometers and to miles, we just have to make the opposite, which is the kilometers. Now instead of multiplying it, we need to divide it, and to use that we need to use the slash 1.61. So in the print, for the print function, now let's see. So this will be the output. So it will become miles, which is 7.38 miles is, so as you can see, there is a round code here. So the round function makes us rounds off the value or the answer. So in this case, it is rounded into 2 decimal places. So round miles to kilometers, then the how many decimal points do you want it. So it is rounded into 2 decimal points. So miles, then miles is the, then this one will be 7.38 miles is the answer here, which is this one with 2 decimal places, then kilometers, then same as this one. So let's try to run it. So there's it. 7.38 miles is 11.88 kilometers. So it is already rounded to 2 decimal places because of this round function and the 2 decimal places. Now let us try putting 4 here and 3 here. So let's try to run this one. So as you can see, 7.38 miles is 11.8818 because we edited with the 4 decimal places, and for this one 12.25 kilometers is 7.609 miles because we edited it to 3 decimal places. So for my conclusion on this experiment or activity, the use of a variable is very important because it will be the one that defines our subject. This is also helpful to save some time in coding, since you can just add the identifiers in the print function so that it will be present on the output. The experiment also showed that the variables may also be used with mathematical operators, conversions, and doing mathematical equations. For my recommendation, discovering new codes like the variable is a great way to learn Python programming, because in the future, we will use this code and mix it with other codes to run a program and produce an output.